Good. Good morning, everybody. I've been looking forward to this for some time.
Yeah, me too.
Jeff and I have ongoing conversations that last much longer than we're going to spend today. And usually it's you're driving in one direction,
Yes.
I'm driving in another. Next thing you know, you look at it and you go, we've been on the phone for an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, yesterday was a quick one. It was like 28 minutes.
Yeah, that's right. We were just talking about this. So,
Yeah.
we should be done in about 8 minutes today.
Yeah, 10 minutes and we're out.
Yeah, okay, good. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff. I know that you saw the announcement, the description, but we'd probably go off track here and there.
Yep.
Jeff, thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Those of you who don't know Jeff, he's been a successul real estate agent for 37 years. 7 years, same as me. We've been in the same business the same amount of time.
Yep.
And we have things in common. And that's what we're going to talk about today, because we kind of always are working around this sort of stuff. And I see people in the room that are going to resonate with this for sure. And so, Jeff, do you want to open the floor a little bit?
Sure. So today I really just want to talk about sort of like my life experiences and how I've used challenges and other things just to sort of get me to where I am today. I think the misconception is that, if you have a past that's checkered and you've had some struggles, that it'd be difficult to obtain or to arrive at something, whether it be this business or another business that you'd be successful at. And for me, it's not true. And for people that sort of like deal with adversity and sort of take something from it. I think you learn more from failure than you do from success anyways, but I think if you look at these things sort of like from the outside in and you see where where your life's evolved and how you've got to where you've got, I think that's kind of more like, what I want to talk about. I don't think, everything I'm going to speak about may work for everybody. I think lots of little tidbits could, or you could maybe take away from the fact that, I didn't realize that, he also had similar struggles to I had, because I wouldn't know. Most people keep their struggles to themselves. But I think you don't get anywhere unscathed. It's just, I guess, how you learn how to cope with it and to get better ways and different strategies to deal with some of the things that, have come up in your life. I think we're probably pretty much all the same.
I think so too. I had a question for you. When you got into real estate, you didn't have any experience in real estate like most of us.
None.
But when did you know or believe that you were going to be really good at it?
At real estate or just at anything?
At real estate. When was the moment? Can you remember that?
So I owned a tanning salon when I was 22, I think, 21 or 22. It's where I met Violet. And this guy came into my salon, Steve Atsaves, always in a nice suit, a Greek guy, had like a Mercedes convertible. And I'm like, what do you do for a living? And he's like, I sell real estate. And I'm like, I never even thought, I never even entered my mind. I didn't even know it was even an industry. I just was completely oblivious to it. And then this guy came into my salon and he was like, I wouldn't buy anything from him. He was just like one of those guys, but he had a nice suit on a nice car, and I was like, you know what I mean? I'm thinking, fuck, if he can do it. So I remember talking to my dad, and I didn't know nothing about like houses and literally like a back split from a side split from a this, from a that. And he said, focus on what you're good at. You could learn those things. And I just said, that makes sense. And I liked the idea that he had more freedom than I did, because I opened the salon with a friend of mine. And I worked there for 3 years, like every day, 7 days a week. Not maybe, literally 9 to 9, 9 to 6, 11 to 5. Sold my car, took a bus there. And I think I had that work ethic. I also never thought it would fail. Looking back, I never thought for a moment that it would fail. I never thought, oh my God, I sold my car, I left my job, my parents lent me some money, this better not fail. I just never thought that. I just thought, whatever it takes to make it successful, I'll do. And I did. But that was the person that sort of and I did a deal with him years later. And he wasn't that bright, yeah. I mean, sometimes sometimes I'll do deals with like really like successful agents, or I won't name names. I was doing an open house one time, and this pretty big agent came in, and he was talking to his client, and I was just listening, and I'm like, I would never say that. I wouldn't say that. That's too open-ended. I would never say that. Oh, don't tell me you said that. And I'm thinking like, and then I thought, okay, it's only marketing, because he's saying all the wrong things that I would never, I can't remember what it was, but I would never say. Because it just seemed like he was painting himself into a corner, not knowing that he was doing it. He was just talking, continually talking. And I was very surprised.
That's neat.
So I probably went off topic.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
That's the way this is going to roll.
Okay, yeah, sure.
So speaking of off topic,
right?
I know that early in your career, you went to a Tony Robbins event.
Yes.
And I know that had a big influence on you.
Yeah. So prior to that, probably I've had some down times in my life where things weren't going well, or where I wasn't like coping with things, or I wasn't doing things I should do, and I was feeling good going into it, and flew to Hawaii and did the mastery program there, with the firewalk, and we went up on this like telephone pole with a harness, and we met lots of nice people, but I went there with a different sort of mindset, like there was like people there that were like almost like disciples of him. Like they just like, Tony should be the president, and Tony should be this, and and I didn't see it that way. I just like some of the things I thought were really decent, and they applied to me, and I like really enjoyed them. I met like Doug Chapman. I met John Robbins. His dad founded Baskin Robbins. He was interesting. He had a book, Diet for New America, because it was all vegetarian then, and I was a vegetarian for about 9 years. So. Met him, I met Martin Sheen, and some of it was really, really good, but some of it I didn't care about, and I was able to like just sort of like pick what I wanted to do, and then not care. Like I remember the first day there, had my binder and all my notes and the cards and the this, and I was taking notes, and got back to my hotel room, and I don't like my writing, and I'm like, I'm not taking notes. I never take notes. I'm just gonna fucking listen to it. Sorry. I'm just gonna listen to it.
How many minutes did that take?
Yeah. I'm just gonna listen to it, and then that's it. And if I like something, and I like it. And then I think 10 days in, I thought, I'm gonna rent a convertible and go to look at the volcano. And so I met a guy from San Diego that owned a car dealership, and I said, hey, like, I'm not gonna go tomorrow. And he said, yeah, well, let's get a car. I said, yeah, sure. So we got a car. I went and got some Oakleys. Got there late at night, like 2, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, walked out, seen all the stuff, came back like 8, 10 o'clock, really tired. So some people on this team, I was on team 13, and they're like, they see me having breakfast. You coming? I'm like, nah, not today. You're not coming? Like, no, I'm not gonna come today. How come? I'm like, I don't want to. I'm okay not coming. I don't like have to come. So good things about it. Like I learned some things. I really enjoyed Tony Robbins. I staffed some of his events here. I just think if you could take 3 things from this, or sometimes I'll go see someone speak, or I'll read something and it'll resonate with me, and I'll just take it. But if you don't take everything, it doesn't mean anything. I just take the stuff that sort of like works with me. But I really enjoyed, the firewalk was amazing. You had to get like sort of in a trance and hypnotize yourself, and you walk on the coals, and going up this telephone pole, it was like 5 stories. It had a harness, so harness through your legs, over your shoulders, and a rope, and your team was holding the other end. And so what you had to do was, and I'm petrified of heights, is stand on top of this pole, which is literally a telephone pole. It's 5 stories in the air, and then you have to like pull on this like the rope that they're holding, and that's where the trapeze is. And at its farthest point is when you have to jump out to try and get it. Because if it's at its closest point as you're jumping out, it's going away from you. You're not going to catch it. So I remember I was up there. I know the running shoes I was wearing, and I'm like, my team's like, "Go, Jeff!" I'm like, and I'm thinking, "Go, Jeff, go!" And I'm like thinking, "No, don't go." It took me about 90 seconds, maybe 2 minutes, because it was like pretty freaking high, And I'm thinking, could I climb down? And I actually did it, and I ticked it with my hand, but I didn't get it. Like I missed it, and you couldn't go again, and I was so like. I was happy I did it. frustrated that I didn't actually get it. And not many people did get it. But so you get past, that was the whole thing. You're getting past like some fear, some like public speaking or whatever it may be. That was one. The firewalk was very like, it was hot. Like people think it's not. You have to like get yourself into a little trance with a mantra. I remember it was Cool Moss was our mantra. And I remember doing it and thinking, fuck, that's like, it was like long, it was hot. People did get burnt. So I think I liked it for those reasons. I liked it for like doing something that you're uncomfortable with doing.
Yeah, it's a stretch that you'd never have that experience to do that.
Right. So, and that's exactly what it was. So there are other people, you've seen them like learn some stuff, and you've seen some people get up and sing and do things that they didn't. So we also went to Maui. So part of a group, I was on this group, and we flew to Maui with 25 cents, an apple, and a map. That's it, and your ID. So get there, and I'm in this like fuchsia rain suit in a shit area in Maui. So Maui's not all Maui, right? I was in a shit area of Maui. It was like factories by the airport. That guy from San Diego, we sort of bumped into each other. I remember walking down this road, factories, and this German Shepherd that was guarding a factory, probably thought, oh, that's an easy meal, ran out, and I'm like, oh God, don't get bit. Now I have no money for a doctor or nothing. So it's running up behind me, and I'm just like walking, whatever. Nice dog, good dog, nice dog. And it's like I could feel it touching my ass with his nose. I'm like, and it went away, and I'm like, oh, thank God. So I see this pineapple on the ground, so I pick it up because I have no money, and I'm thinking, forget it. I just threw it away, and I walked about 10 feet, and I thought, okay, hold on a second here. You've got no money. So if it's bad and you have it, it's bad. But if it's good and you don't have it, it's good. So I went back and got it, and now I'm thinking, how do I open this? So I went to a Taco Bell. Now, it was like, I don't know the day, but it was like dinner time. So it was full of young people, like just like people with money. So I had no money, I had 25 cents. So I wait my line, welcome to Taco Bell, can I help you? I said, yeah, question. Can you tell me if this, and I got this like, my outfit is like your pants in the back. Maybe, yes, like that color. So I'm like, can you tell me if this pineapple is good? And they're like, okay. So they take it to somebody, and the guy like smells it and shakes it and goes, yeah, it's good. I said, would you be able to open it? Could you open it? It's like, I'm here with this Tony Robbins thing. I have 25 cents an apple. That's all I have. I have no money. And the guy said, yeah, sure. So he opens it, puts it in a little box for me. He said, I'll put some salt on it for you. It's better with salt. I'm like, okay. Gave me a huge thing of water. So now I'm like, okay, I've got like water. I've got something to eat. I've accomplished something. Now I have to find a place to stay for the night. So me and this guy made a cardboard like house or something to sleep in that area where the factories were. Now, he had this lay on his neck, and I said, hey, like, his name was Jeff as well. I said, hey, Jeff, I wouldn't keep the lay on your neck like this fucking mosquitoes. He did. Got eaten alive. He did, I didn't. I was like far enough away from him that I didn't get eaten alive. And we woke up in the morning, get in a pickup truck, went up into the mountains and had to like remove gorse weeds that were sort of native from Scotland that were choking off the vegetation. But as we went up, it was freezing cold. It was like 50 degrees. And then you'd meet people in our team that had some skill sets, and they would tell you what they did. Some people made money, like went to a hotel and did some IT work and did this and did that, and they actually had money where we didn't make any money, but we got something to eat. So you put yourself in that like situation where you think, usually I have money or a credit card or something, but you have nothing. So you have to slow down and figure out, okay, hey, I have to make this work. And so it was little things like that, and I learned more, I think, from somebody else's successes, how they I'm like, wow, that's clever. Guy walked into a hotel and said, do you guys have no problem with your IT? He didn't know, he had no phone. He goes, yeah, we are. He goes, yeah, I'm here to fix it. And they're like, okay. And so he went in, he actually let him stay in the hotel. So we were in a box, he was in a hotel, and he got money. So that was, and then people were sharing it. So they would, buy food for the group, and we figure out what's cheap. Bananas are cheap, and they're filling, and peanut butter, and bread, and like things like that. So
I'm still stuck on Jeff and Jeff, one with a lay around his neck, the other one in fuchsia living in a box.
Yeah.
And sharing pineapple.
Yeah, he was a nice guy. We went diving. We stayed an extra night and went
That's
diving.
funny.
We did a night dive and stuff. I liked him a lot.
Yesterday, you asked me a question you never asked me before, and I was driving, and he says, "Hey, when you're in the car, do you ever like talk to yourself?" I'm looking around, and I'm thinking, "Yeah," and he says, "Oh, me too." And we had this little conversation about when we're going into, let's say, a meeting or whatever, we'll play it out loud in our heads as to how I'm going to take on this meeting and how I'm going to do that. And I go, oh, I shouldn't have said that because that person's going to think I mean something else. So I'm going to edit that and I'm going to go through it in my head.
Right.
And you do the same thing.
All the time. I do it all the time.
Which was really neat. And you said something funny. He says, if it was 20 years ago, people would think we're nuts. Now it's just hands-free.
Right.
So it's okay, right?
That's the point. You could be at a light talking and no one's going to look over and go, you shouldn't be driving a car. But now you can because they don't know you're talking to yourself. They think you're on the phone talking to somebody else. But I do it all the time. I just do it like even here. Because I didn't want to forget and I will forget some things I think that would be really important to talk about. But I'm like always trying to think, just to rehearse. I've probably done it my whole life. I just rehearse scenarios. Now, not to be conceited, I can't remember the last time I've left anywhere and said to myself, oh, you shouldn't have said that. I just don't do that. I don't know why, I just don't do it. I don't practice going into, I'm leaving. So, I'll digress. I have a listing appointment with this gentleman who wants to maybe possibly buy one of our listings that we had for a while. We were talking about that. So this just came out of nowhere, right? I think it's all synergy. So he says, hey, Jeff, I'm good for Thursday. How's Thursday morning? I said, yeah, 10 a.m. works. I said, yeah, 10 a.m. it is. And then about 3 hours later, I'm like, 10 a.m. Oh, fuck, I can't do 10 a.m. I'm doing this at 10 a.m. So I text him back, Andy, how's noon? I said, I'm doing this thing at our office and I just forgot. And, he said, yeah, noon's great. I have nothing, my listing presentation is prepared. My dialogue, I've met him already, so I kind of know what he's like, but my dialogue's not prepared because I don't have one prepared. Most of the time, and you're probably the same way, and I've never asked you this, but if I go to an appointment, the first 15, 20 minutes are as long as I'm there. If they don't want to talk about real estate, I'm just talking about their kids, their house, what you like. I ask them, what do you do for a living? What do you like? What do you like? Like Leafs? And then they're like, oh, I should get to the real estate. And they're like, it's like an afterthought. Or sometimes I'll just have this conversation. I know the house very well, the area very well. I won't even open it. Literally, I won't even discuss any of it. They're just comfortable with me, and I'll just leave. I won't, and I'll leave it with them, but I won't say, I should go over and it's just my personality. I think Rob Kelly's very stats oriented. So that works for him very well. It wouldn't work for me. I think I'm more personable in the sense that I just rather, develop a relationship as quickly as I can, and then, people tell you what they want to hear in the sense, not that you're going to lie to them, because I certainly wouldn't lie to anybody, but you get where they're coming from, and then I would just sort of work with that. So sometimes I leave and I don't even talk real estate.
It's funny.
Yeah.
I was just was thinking about our conversation and what you're saying now. When I'm in the middle of something and someone says something that I wouldn't have said, in my mind I'm going, oh, you shouldn't have said that.
Oh yeah, all the time.
In my mind.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I wouldn't probably have said it that way because I think that's going to work against you.
Yes.
And just, it's really interesting. Can you one of the first ththings we talked about was self-talk.
Yes.
And that can mean a lot of different things. What would it mean to you mostly?
So, so self-talk, I think you have to be very careful what you say to yourself, right? Because your subconscious mind's always listening. So whatever you think about expands. So if you think about just paying your bills or doing whatever, or just getting by, or whatever it may be, it tends to expand. So I was not good at that as a young child, because I didn't know the difference. As a young teenager, also not good at it. Even as a young adult, not so good at it, right? And then you just learn through lots of pain and lots of things that you've done wrong, that's a real important thing, because what you say expands. So if you say, I'm not good at this, or I can't do that, or I'm not, whatever it may be, I just don't do it. So I'm with my wife and she's saying something, I'll say, look, just pick some things you're good at. Like when my son plays, for those who don't know, he plays professional golf. He's played junior golf his whole life. And how'd a tournament go today? And yeah, Dad, fucking blocked a shot on this hole. Describe all the things that are, I said, what did you do good? Let's start there. What did you do good? What are you grateful for? You got to play. A lot of kids at your age can't play. They're not living in Florida, so that's good. So did you putt good today? Yeah, my putting was pretty good. How was bunker shots? I did hit a bunker. Well, that was good too. So now tell me what you could work on, but don't make that your primary thing. Don't walk away from something and say, what are all the things, because that's what you're just going to reinforce. And I stopped Justin. I'll talk to Jade when she was younger, and she's really good at it as well, and Violet, and because there's no room for it. I think if you just talk about all the negative things, I think you just bring it into your life. Like the election, I was reading something with a friend of mine, Sean Foley, I follow him on Instagram, and he used to work with Ryan, and they're really good friends. And he posted something about the election, and he was being very, very generic. The gist of it was, the government's not helping anybody. They're not helping your family more than they're going to help their own family. They like their own family, more than, so you're really responsible for your own success, irrespective of who won the election. So lots of people are happy that are Republican. Didn't say it, just said there's happy people and there's people that are very sad and whatever. But you just got to get past it, because it's not going to change, right? It's just always going to be that way. 4 years from now, they're always going to say, now we have to undo all the stuff the Republicans did, or the liberals and the conservatives and all this other stuff, and it's kind of back and forth, and you can get caught up in it. I always say to Violet, look, you're a grain of sand. I'm 61. What do I have, 30 years? I'd be 90. If someone was 30 and turned 60, I'll be 90. I just don't give it that much. I just listen to it a little bit and then move on and just deal with what we have to deal with. I don't get caught up in, oh my God, and all this stuff. Do I like some of the things that are happening in this country? No, I don't. But, hopefully they work their way out. But if you focus on all of that, you lose this. It's like, if you do, let's say, just residential, and someone says, hey, I got this commercial property, I want you to help me lease it, and you're not really good at it, but you do it anyways, and you take away from what you're doing, now you're doing that, and you're shit at it, and then you sort of, I don't do that. I would say, no, I can't do that, because I think you spread yourself too thin.
Yeah. So I'm going to connect the dots, go into visualization.
Yep.
Has anyone heard of visualization before? I know athletes do that all the time.
Yep.
Golfers particularly.
Yep.
Prior to a shot,
yep.
Going into combat situations, soldiers, special forces,
mm-hmm.
they all run through different scenarios, not only physically, but in their own minds.
Yep.
And they play out what happens there, and it's really super interesting. How do you use it?
I think I use it. I think I use it with dialogue in the car. I don't see, let's say, the person I'm going to be meeting with, because I haven't met them before, and sometimes you do, and I'll make some notes, but I know exactly how I want the whole situation to go, before I go there. I have an understanding as to how I'd like it to start, then get to the middle of it, and then end, and then I just adjust everything based on the meeting. So, like everybody else, I don't get every listing that I go to, but lots of them we do. And I'll leave, and my wife will call me and say, how'd the meeting go? I said, you know what, V? I'm so grateful that these people reach out to me. They're older, and nothing bad will happen to them. I'll make sure they get the most amount of money, and they'll be treated the way they should be treated. I'm going to treat them like how I'd like to be treated, and how I'd like my parents, when they were alive, of course, to be treated. And then sometimes you go to ones and you leave and you go yeah, no chance, not gonna get it. Not that I did something wrong, just that the other person's energy was so, it was uncomfortable. It was I couldn't wait till, I'm 45 minutes, I'm out. And I don't really care, having done it for a long time, because it wasn't meant to be. So, the visualization part, I do it all the time. I've always seen myself as somebody that would be successful, even as a young kid. I just didn't know what it was going to be. So in my mind, I used to caddy at this really posh golf course, Oakdale, where they held the Canadian Open 2 years ago. And it was, people were very wealthy. And so I was caddying there, and I remember thinking to myself, it's like Tuesday, 3 in the afternoon, I wonder what these people do for a living, like all the fancy cars and nice sweaters, it's like to carry themselves well. I said, I never asked them because it wasn't my place to ask, but I always thought, well, they're not, and my dad was relatively successful, but a different kind of success. And I said, well, they're not doing what my dad's doing, because he didn't have the ability to have like his own time to leave from where he is to play golf, and he never played golf. But whatever it was they were doing, I'd like to do. And I could surmise what they were doing because I'm an adult. And I always thought that. I always thought I would be successful. I just didn't know what it was going to be. And I was very unsuccessful at shit jobs like everybody else, and tried things that I failed at that I didn't like, but I just never lost that, I know that, I'll be successful. So I don't know if that is so much visualization. I think in my mind, I always assume that it's going to work out.
It's like we run a parallel universe here. So I've always been able to see where I wanted it to be.
Yes.
The path is where I get stuck when I was much younger.
Yes.
Because I didn't feel that I could share with anybody how it should look at the end, because I didn't have all the steps. And then with a coach.
You're not going to have the steps.
A coach taught me to say, don't get tied up in the steps, get tied up in the vision,
right,
and share early with your people, your customers, or whatever. Begin early in the game so that they start hearing what you're thinking,
right,
and they'll help contribute to the steps.
So the challenge is that most people will actually even say it. Oh, when I see it, I'll believe it. But it's really the reverse of that. You have to believe it first, and then it comes. Like you get on a ship or a plane or somewhere, the captain or the pilot doesn't see Italy from Toronto. He'll see it the last 5 minutes. But for the other 8 hours, he's trusting his education, he's trusting the instruments, he's trusting his ability to adjust for wind, for this, for that, and then he sees it. And I think the same thing should happen with people. Like, you're not going to see where you want to go, but if you have a plan to get there, and if you work at it, and if you make. So one of the things I learned with the Anthony Robbins seminar was this thing called CANI, constant and never-ending improvement. Just little incremental things that you could change every day. Like just little things. So you want to get a listing or get in shape or whatever, you're not losing the weight in one day. You're not going to quit smoking in one day. You'd have to just get up and make a commitment. And then once you get good at it after, say, 3 weeks and it becomes a habit, it's a little easier. Like I work out 3 times a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays, this morning, and Saturdays. Everything else, and I go early, so it wouldn't really matter. But even if it did, the appointments that I would have to go around that. Right? Those are commitments that I make. And a friend of mine, Vince Murphy, a life insurance guy, he would block off. He would work like 5-6 weeks hard, take 5 days off. And he would have it like in his daytimer. Back then, there's no Google, no nothing. And he was really, really good. And he was very helpful for me when I got my license, because I wasn't doing good when I first got my license. I did okay. I did good that year, but at the very beginning, I didn't know what I was doing. I remember him coming to see me at my office, and he's like, how's it going? I said, yeah. I'd like some listings. He goes, yeah. Do you want listings? I said, yeah. Or do you just like to have them? I said, like to have them. I mean, I don't know, what's the difference? He goes, see, what are you doing to get them? And I said to him, nothing. I'm not doing anything. I'm just like fucking sitting there. I don't know what to do. I don't have much money. And he's like, okay, well here's what you can do. That costs no money. Call expireds. And I said, okay. And he gave me a script. So I would call expireds. I'd call people. Hey, Pinder, it's Jeff from Home Life 5-Star. I noticed your house expired. I was just wondering if there's a reason for that. Not, do you want to sell your house? You say, no, hang up the phone. I'm asking an open-ended question. Just something that you'd say something like, I don't know, you're the agent, you should know. And then I'd have some dialogue. Or you'd hang up. I'd call you right back. My phone or your phone? I got cut off. And I would just do it like constantly. And I got listings. Now, I got lots of bad listings. But I had nothing else to do anyway. So I got one guy, Wally Wellington, gave me 11 listings. This Jamaican guy. Most of them were terrible, but I had nothing to do.
Did you say Wally Wellington?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I remember, feature sheets, glue stick, photograph.
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's how long ago it was. And he helped me, and he didn't even know he helped me by giving me that, because I didn't know what to do. And I got stuck. I was paralyzed with not so much panic. I had no guidance, I guess. And I thought, okay, I can't fail at this. And so I didn't, and then I got some listings, and I sold a house at 10 London Green Court. I sold a house on my parents' street, and I sold another house. And it was just, I'm like, okay. Locked myself out of my first open house with my car keys in their house in Rexdale. So that was and I had to call my dad, no cell phone. I had to walk to a payphone, try and explain to my father, who directionally troubled, right? I was like, Dad, just go down Lower Road to Weston Road, turn Shepherd, get past Wolco, Weston Road. Don't go under the bridge where the highway is. Just go by the golf course off BD. And he's like,
he didn't have Waze.
No. And then he's like, so on Laura Road, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be here I had all my signs against my car, but my keys were in the house. So he got there, brought me a key, put my signs in, called the person. It wasn't even my listing, it was Nancy Smart's listing. I grew up with her son. And called the vendors. And I said, hey, open house went great. I said, I left my keys in your house by accident, because they had the door at the back. You push the button and it locks. So you know what I mean? I didn't have to lock it. And I didn't have their house keys. They let me in. So I was got all my stuff. I was excited and nervous. I had all my things. I locked the door. I'm like, oh, well, my keys are in their house. I decided, I left my keys. That's okay. I had a spare key anyways. Not a big deal. Yeah, it was a huge deal, because it took me an hour to get picked up from their first. So that was my first open house. You look back at it and I laugh. I mean, it's just whatever.
That's funny.
Yeah.
The coming into the market we're in, in the last probably 3 weeks, we've had a real lift in activity and showings, comparing 23 over 24, 24 over 23. If you look in all areas, there's 20-some, 23, 24, 25, 30% more units that went than in October 2023, which is what we've been waiting for. So we talked about this, and we talked about how all of a sudden people who have been grinding through a really hard market, all of a sudden are on fire. It's not magic. Tell us about the grind.
I'll say grind. I mean, I don't even think grind. I think if the people that approach it, I love this job. I've been doing it for a long time. My wife says, I don't know how you like it so much. It's a pretty cool job. I just do it for time. For free time, I don't really keep track of the money. I know that we're doing okay. Violet keeps track of it. My brothers would ask me, hey, if you did 10 deals in 1 month, what are you thinking? And I'm thinking about another deal. I'm not thinking, I'm not gonna go away anywhere. I'm just so I'll work really, really hard, whether it's 5, 6, 7 months in a row, Jade's the same way, and Justin's the same way. When it slows down, you can't put a circle into a square, we'll go away. Now, we'll still do the marketing, but we'll go away. So, it's a grind if you don't like it. If you're passionate about it, I think it's not a grind. And I think if you just believe, you can't see it, but you believe, look, it's gonna change, right? It's not gonna stay the same, it's always changing, but you gotta be ready for it to change, right? You can't farm for 3 months and run out to look in your garden to see where the tomato plants are that you planted. They're not there yet. You got to keep watering them, and then they eventually appear. And then next year you put less water and less seeds, and eventually when you go out 4, 5, 6, 7 years later, they kind of come up by themselves because you've earned it. So I think the people that do well, irrespective of the market, see already past it, and they just adjust. They have if you meet with a client when the market's not really good, then they're like, well, I'm not going to get as much money for my house. I know, but you're buying for less. You're not on an island. You're buying for the same thing. But we're selling. We're retiring now, Jeff. I said, okay, so you could take your money, because when the real estate market's in the shitter, stock market's doing pretty good. Like blue chip stocks, not like penny stocks. So take the money that you don't need because you've got a cottage or you're buying down, and invest that money, because you could make some money with that money that would kind of bridge the gap between what you were hoping to get and what you could get. And they're like, I don't understand. And then if you have that and you could just write it down on a piece of paper and just do some simple math, they're like, okay, yeah, that makes kind of sense. Because there's an answer to everything. Like, when I first got my license and there was a recession, I put on a little sticky on my car, I heard there's a recession and I'm not going to take part in it, because people have to sell. Buying because they have too much money, not enough money, transferred, divorce, the house is too small, too big. Whatever the reason is, I want to be the person selling it. So I'm not going to focus on the recession, because then that's why I don't focus on watching the news or doing all these things, because you just bring yourself into that and you can't get out. So I just don't do it. Like these, the market's changing, all these people. I said, we need 70 deals to fucking make $1.5 million. I can do 70 deals. It's not that hard to do. If I focus on, oh my God, there's people cutting commission and there's all the whatever, I don't care. I don't want to work with them anyways. I only want to work with people that want to work with me. That's it. So that's my focus. I don't veer from it. I don't get up and I don't get down. I just try to stay in the middle as best I can. I work out, eat decently. I don't lie, don't steal, don't cheat. I have these certain, doing the right thing when no one's looking is integrity. You can't do the right thing when it's convenient. When it's not convenient, you can say, you know what, I'm just gonna bend the rules. You can't do that. If I go to the gym and the guy says to me, do 30 burpees, I'm not doing 22 and no one's looking, getting up. I fucking can't. I have to do 30. Because if I don't do 30, I may not come back the next time. That's in my mind. That's how I have this rule in my mind. I have to do exactly what he said. I will not cheat and talk and stop and whatever. I'm going to go there. I'm going to work out as hard as I can for the hour that I'm there, or an hour and a half, and that's it. And that's the way I approach real estate. I just approach it the exact same way. I don't veer off. I try to be kind and fair to people and add some value. That's it. You add value, and you learn dialogue. And it's not like hocus pocus. You just learn dialogue. You just learn what people, what do you want? Because I am an agent and you're an agent. So in this environment, you're not the consumer. So when you buy a jacket or a car or something and you keep going to the same person, why? Because it's how they make you feel. You trust them. They got your best interest. All those different things. So then just be that person. If that makes sense.
It does.
So the grind. So I don't think it's a grind. That's my point. I just think, you know what, you're going to make less money. Okay, great. You know what? So everybody else is making less money. If you take care of your money, which is a very big anxiety for me for a lot of my career, we didn't have much money. We had 3 kids and commission. So it was this huge struggle. So part of the mindset, I think, is learning to figure out what causes you anxiety and learn to cope better with it, or not put yourself in that position where you have that anxiety, right? So you say the old adage is go to the doctor, my head hurts. What do you think's causing it? I don't know, I keep banging it on the wall. Okay, got an idea. Don't bang it on the wall, right? So I think the same thing with different people. So for me, that would be a big anxiety, would be the being underfunded. So I just made it a point to never do that again. And so then you can ride that little wave, right? I'm comfortable talking here with anybody. I guess my point would be, I could sit and talk with anybody and I would not be intimidated. Doesn't matter who they are. Just a regular people, doctor, lawyer, this, that, I could care less. They're looking for your advice. This is not their specialty. So if you come there and you're congruent and you're sincere and you have a plan and people can feel it, right? You can trick someone's mind, you can't trick their stomach. They know. It's like when you go somewhere and you leave and you go I don't know, that person made me feel very uncomfortable. It seemed hokey pokey, right? I'll tell people that when I said, look, if I leave and you feel uncomfortable, don't work with me. But if you don't, maybe you should. The other thing is, kids and dogs. If I go to a listing appointment, sometimes the kids will come up and I'll start talking to them. I'll leave and sit in the dining room and have a tea out of a tea set and whatever. And kids love me. They love Jade because you're congruent. You're sincere with what you're doing, right? That's not and then I like it. So I like these kids. They're nice kids. They're lovely. They're cute. And there's one family I'm dealing with right now, and she's like, Jeff, my boys love you. There's just they're 5 and 7. We're in Vancouver and we're at our friend's house, and my youngest said, is this one of Jeff's houses? Because he thinks that every house I show them is my house, right? I said, I adore your kids. I love your kids. They're so nice, and I sincerely mean it. They're the litmus test, right? Dogs and kids are the litmus test. Because kids will tell you, because they're not conditioned to lie. Where if you didn't like somebody, you wouldn't say, you're an idiot. You just say, well, I don't, in your mind, you already made up in your mind that you're not comfortable with that person. Kids are the same way, but they would tell you, you stink. You have something on your tooth, or, I don't like you, right? Or dogs, same thing. Dogs, they'll sense that they don't like you. So that's a good way, and you can't fake it. You can't be disingenuous with children or dogs because they don't know the difference and they'll be on you. And kids and dogs love me. So I would say be who you are. Don't be when you're having an argument with your wife or your husband, and you're yelling back and forth and the phone rings. And you get it or your wife gets it. So you're having a big fight with your wife and the phone rings and, oh, hi, yeah, yeah. Yeah, pickleball, I'd love to play. I'm like, okay, so that's made up, right? You hang up the phone, it's because they're out of the argument with you and they're talking to somebody that's not in the argument. I would say when you go on these appointments, you need to be congruent. You have to just be who you are, right? Don't lie ever. Tell them the truth. If you come across that way, it's not like you're acting. You're just being yourself. We were talking a few days ago and you said the same thing. You said, are you ready? Joking around for today. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm just talking to Al. We're just having, it's what we do for a living. We just shoot the shit. I said, we should just do one. To get 3 of us, we could just talk for hours. And are you comfortable? And you're like, yeah, I'm just who I am. It's not made up. It's so easy then, right? It becomes so easy. You're comfortable in your own skin. You go to an appointment, and you're going to get most of them, but you're not going to get all of them. And the ones you don't get, you weren't supposed to get. And so you move on, you forget about it, who cares, whatever. And then I said, we have a lot in common. I mean, you're younger, you're way more organized than I am, but I've got Violet, Jade, and Justin to help me, but we were laughing about that, but we're pretty much the same, right? I think it makes it easier for you, and it makes it easier for me and anybody else here that is, and genuine's like an insult, so I mean, just to be yourself, this is me everywhere I go. Authentic, exactly. So if you're authentic, people like it, right? If you don't have the answer, if they ask me a question, I say, I don't have the answer. That's a very good question. I'll get you the answer. Or people will have a listing, they'll say, Jeff, can you do this? And I said, yeah, on it, no problem. Got it, I can solve that. Because all you really are is a problem solver. I mean, that's all we do. We just solve problems, right? They hire you to solve a problem. And then you get paid. And then you learn a bit more dialogue and you take it with you from wherever you go. And so the stuff that I did 30 years ago, as far as marketing material and being organized and all these different things, it evolves, right? So you just change, you evolve, you change your direction, you adjust for all these different things. I find that, I think, is also part of mindset, because you're gonna do a bunch of stuff and it's not gonna work. It's going to take a while for it to catch on, right? You may get lucky, but most likely now I just have people calling me all the time, right? Because I've worked an area for 25 years religiously. And so I get a lot of the calls and I get a lot of the listings.
When do you ever stop marketing?
Never.
So that's another
Never.
thing that happens, so.
Well, I'll stop working. I'm going away I'm going to go, well, you don't know this yet, but I forgot that, I didn't tell Justin. We're going away we're going to Costa Rica for the month of December. Well, most of December.
Could we do a workshop down there?
Yeah. But I guess my point was we'll be marketing from there, right? We'll have stuff that's going out, it never stops. We're just always constantly, it doesn't matter where I am. And I get to do this now because I have Jade and Justin.
Yeah.
Before that, I didn't go away that much because I had to be here because it was a business. Yeah. Or I'd be working when I was away, like more so than I would work. I would work when I'm away, but I have to work and leave, go to the business center and make an email and a fax or whatever before there was DocuSign, right? But yeah, so to answer your question, Pinder goes away, he's still marketing. He's still sending out newsletters and signs and this and birthday cards and whatever. We just did that pumpkin thing a few weeks ago. We gave away 2,000 pumpkins and we hand delivered them to houses, like with volunteers, which was a big ordeal, but it went off well. Got lots of people like carving pumpkins, and we had a contest, and I'll be showing houses, doing an open house, and I got your pumpkin, it was very nice, and did you deliver it? I said, what street you on? And I'm like, oh yeah, that was me, with a wagon, we delivered it. 3 days here, ton of work. Yeah. Couldn't have done it with all the people that were helping us, but we did a pumpkin event in that area, like a fair for 21 years, that we had a fair with wagons and ponies and pumpkins and clowns and tattoo artists, and like 1,500 people would come to it, and we just did it all the time, and then we stopped during COVID. And so Justin came up with this idea, and we just sort of like incorporated it in, and we weren't sure how it was going to go, but it didn't stop us from doing it, right? Just like the pumpkin event. Like when we first started to do it, we never held a fair before, me and Violet. We just asked empowering questions. Hey, if you're going to hold a fair, what would you do? As opposed to, I don't know how to do a fair. And your mind's going to say, yeah, you don't know how to do a fair, you're an idiot. What would you know? Like, and all that stuff. So, and it worked well. My point was that you're doing something, right? You're just doing something. We sent out 2,000 pumpkins. Did we get like people? I was delivering pumpkins on this street, and this Polish guy comes out of his house, looking like an MMA guy, all angry, and he takes the fucking pumpkin. I didn't swear. And he throws it in his recycling while I'm on the bottom of his driveway. I'm like talking to a client that lives across the street that I know personally. I'm like,
what the fuck?
What the fuck? right. I'm like, just say you don't want it. Fucking ass. Yeah. So, and then she goes, I said, is he like this, so he is angry. So getting back to this, like you have a choice between how you want to react, right? Like if someone says something to me that's not flattering, I'm not going to really engage in an argument. I'm just going to ignore it, right? Like even family, going through some stuff with my family. Both my parents passed away in the last 11 months. So there's a lot of fucking shit going on. So, and then you come to a point in your life where you're older and you're like, do I need that person, irrespective of who they are, in my life? Are they bringing any value? Is it just always the same where you're doing more, they're doing nothing, but whatever. So, have this like sort of falling out, and I get an email. I see who it's from. I'm like, I'm not going to read this right now. Fuck, I don't give a shit. Whatever. I think Violet was copied on it. Did Jeff see the email? I said, well, I seen who it came from. I read the first time. I could care less. Days went by. So she's like looking at it. She's like, I did a response. I said, but it came to me and you didn't send it. No, but we should send it. You should send it. You should deliver it. I said, okay. So I was going to send it. And I finally read the email. I'm like, yeah, no. My response is I'm not sending it. That's my response. Like, you owe me an explanation. No, I don't. I don't owe you anything. It's just my opinion. I don't owe you anything. She's like, Jeff, but you should defend yourself. I said, I am defending myself. I don't need to engage in this. My answer is I'm not doing it. And it's my family. I'm not doing it. I don't care. I'm not doing it. It's the same thing with anything, confrontation, anybody. Like if somebody insults you, you decide how you want to react to it, right? Like if someone swore at you in another language, but they weren't being aggressive, you didn't know, are they saying something? Like you're at a Vietnamese nail salon and they're talking and you're thinking, are they saying shit about me? Or are they are they just talking? If you don't know, you can't attach anything to it, right? So, people say, well, that's just the way I am. Well, no, that's the way you choose to be. Because if you don't change, then you're accepting that. So you could choose to be something different. You get an orange, squeeze it, what's going to come out? Orange juice. An apple, apple juice. Pineapple juice. People, whatever's inside will come out. So anger, fear, compassion, rancor, understanding, empathy, whatever it may be, is what's going to come out. So, but you could change that because that's up to you how you want to react. You could say, I did react that way, and I used to, and I don't. Because why? It doesn't serve any purpose. It's like drinking poison or hanging on to poison and expecting the person that you're arguing with to die. It's pointless, right? I just would rather not do it. It just makes everything so much easier. Like negative people, I don't give them much time in my life because they just suck. Other than when my mom was not well, they would call me and say, your mom's not in a good mood, she'd come talk to her. I'd come in there with big energy, Justin would come, and we'd just cheer her up and like, hey, mom, like I'd bring her something. That's different. She earned that. But other people, no, I could care less. And I think if you don't care less, if you allow that to creep into your life, I think it becomes very, very, because they can bring you down very quickly. So I would guard what your self-talk is for sure, and I would guard, who you sort of associate with, and because I think whatever you focus on expands, including that. So I went off on about 10 tangents.
That's awesome. Yeah. So some things that I heard this morning,
Yep.
Other than, the fucks, other than that, I heard your expense line is your expense line, and you're
Yep.
always going to have that because you're always going to be marketing, and you're
Yep.
also always going to be doing things like fairs and giveaways
Right.
and
Yes.
whatever.
Yes.
You need to be focused on the top line, 100%.
Yes.
Because that's where the movement is. You're not going to.
You have to add value.
Yeah, and you're not going to solve your business by just taking away all your marketing and all your expenses.
No.
You're going to need to do that by doing more transactions.
Now, we both know a client that I was working with in the summer, and he wanted me to put like an ad in the Globe and Mail and an ad in the Financial Post and all this, like an ad in this magazine, and I did. I pared it down a little bit, and I did some online stuff and but I just literally, I could have said to him, here, just take the $1,500. No one's calling you. Like, they're not calling you. They don't work. The only reason why people use these magazines or these newspapers is to keep their name there. It's not for the house, it's for the agent. Like, it's not, but I did, and I normally wouldn't. Like, we do postcards and newsletters in our farm area, and that's it. Other than that, we don't do anything. We don't do magazines. We don't do the real estate magazines, because they kind of guilt you into being in it because, well, you're in it. If your competition's in it and whatever, then you're like, oh, fuck, okay, I'm in. Sorry, I'm in it, right? But you make no money from it.
Absolutely.
My clients would call me, hey, Jeff, see my ad in the magazine. Wow, it's pretty cool. I said, yeah, I know, but you're not buying your own house. and you're my only call. My aunt's seen it. She's also not buying your house. She lives in another province.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm like, so I think you pick and choose, where you want to be. I think the other thing is, and it's got nothing to do with what we were just talking, is energy. Right? I think energy is important. I think how you carry yourself, how you walk, how you talk. Like if you change your physiology, you change your state, right? So, if you're like super clinically depressed and it's too late, you would need some help. And then you would slowly get, like people say, I'm in a dark spot, I'm in a hole. They describe it physically as to where they are. If you don't let yourself get there, if you you recognize that, oh, this is not good, and maybe your self-talk's not so good. If you change your physiology, if you walk with purpose, talk with purpose, if you do all these different things, you'll release different chemicals and you'll put yourself in a better mood, right? Depressed people, shoulders are slumped, talking very shallow, moving kind of shallow, like you know that they're not in a good place, so you could change it, working out, not that no one doesn't know this, but working out's good, watching what you eat, whatever. All these different things play, because this is a hard job. Like it's not it's not for the faint of heart. It's not like I'm up here saying like it's easy. Look, it's not easy. We've had less than no money for the beginning of our career because we didn't know any better. We've gotten better at it, and you match and mirror, you see things, but it's not for the faint of heart. If anybody gets into this just for the money, they're making a huge mistake. It's got to be for helping people. Like for me, it's helping people. I like to help people. That's really my primary focus, is to help people. And I think by helping people, it helps me. Because I think that I'm broken. I think there's parts of me growing up with some shit that went on in my life that I find that I think it puts me back together a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, it just makes me feel like I'm doing the right thing. Like that, like I literally feel that way. I don't think like, wow, I sold that guy's house, I made this much money. I never think that. I never really even keep track of it. I just think like, okay, wow, I did a great job for these people. And then you get really good at the negotiating when you can describe how it's going to play out, and your clients, and you say, no, we have to wait. He'll call me back. And they're like, you sure, Jeff? I don't lose the house. And then he call you back, and I say, he called me back. And they're like, oh, wow, you knew. Yeah, you only know because you get so good at it, even though it's DocuSign now, people tell you things that they don't know they're telling you. Like multiple offers. Hey, just let me know when I can better my offer. Oh yeah, no problem. Okay, so that's not your own offer. Like, okay, great, thanks. I really appreciate you telling me that. You'll add more money, right? So before, it would be like in person, in your sensory acuity, you see someone's eyebrow move, or they say something or whatever, and you pick up on it. Like now it's just on the phone. You can do the same thing. Because my wife will sometimes say, Jeff, like the one we just sold a few weeks ago, we're lying in bed, this agent, I'm dealing with her, and I give her a sign back till 10 o'clock. So she messages me like at 5:30, 6 o'clock. Jeff, can I talk to you? I'm like, no, sorry, I'm busy with clients. Oh, 2 hours later, any chance? I said, just wrapping up. So now it's like 20 to 10. She said, am I gonna get a chance to talk to you? I said, yeah, sorry, Leah, no problem. I call her, hey, what's going on? Hey, listen, I got your sign back. I said, yeah, and and then the part where I said, yeah, okay. She's like, if you can get me like $1.8 million, I could probably push this through. I said, okay, I can't. She said, well, at least call your clients. I said, okay, so I told you I already spoke to them. They didn't want to pay $1,790,000. So I'm not going to call them back right now after they told me they don't want to pay any more money, and ask them for $10,000 at 4 minutes to 10. I said, look, I get it. The house is nice. It's not. There's never a perfect house. I'm not going to slag the house, but I'm not calling them for sure, right? I said, look, I really like working with you. If they change their mind, call me. If I haven't sold another house, then great. And so I hang up the phone. He's like, Jeff, why wouldn't you call your clients? I said, because they've already accepted our offer. She said they're not going to pay. I said, okay. So I text my clients. I said, hey guys, look, we're not going to get the house tonight. I told you, it may not be tonight. You're going to get the house, but it may not be tonight. Talk to you tomorrow. Put my phone down. I hadn't put it on Do Not Disturb yet. Like, was just lying in bed. Because I go to bed early. Nothing gets done at 10, 11, 12 o'clock. My phone buzzes. I'm thinking it's my client saying, yeah, thanks, I appreciate that. I've already pre-framed them to them to understand that it may not work tonight. So they're not going to be disappointed with me. They're going to think, what? I know what I'm doing, because I know what I'm doing. It's the agent. Hey, Jeff, wow, you're lucky. Congratulations, they accepted your offer. Who do I call first? Not my clients. I show my wife. I'm like, look, V. She's, oh, how did you know that? I said, well, it didn't help you yelling in my ear or like, Jeff, talk to clients. Jeff, talk to clients. Like, that wasn't helping me. I could just tell by talking to her that she wasn't telling me the truth. That she was like just playing me for 10 grand. But you get good at that, and you get good at like that sensory acuity, that kind of stuff. And it worked well for them. And there's either just like little exercises, that like cutting commission. I don't do it. Period. I mean, we have a value-added proposition where we use some of the commission for the house, but I'm not giving my money away just because you didn't get enough money. I'm not doing that. Or getting me the listing. I'm not doing that. Especially in my farm area. Maybe outside the odd time, but I can't remember the last time I've done it.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Jeff, this is exactly what we were hoping for, I think.
Yes. If I went like in all different directions, I've got so much I'd like to, and I don't know everything. Like I'm not professing to have all these. I just know what has worked for me. I know I've struggled with lots of stuff and have lots of baggage, and it's just, I think what I was trying to, like, I guess, convey was that The past doesn't equal the future, right? It's just the past. The wake of the boat means nothing. It's what you attach to it, right? So, when people say, oh, you're lucky, I'm thinking, I'm not lucky. I'm not lucky. I don't profess to be lucky. I don't think that I'm lucky. I just persevere. I use everything as something that I've learned. I don't look at it as failure. I don't look back at my life and think, if I could change something, what would it be? I don't know what it would be. I really don't know what it would be. I think you arrive where you are because you're supposed to be here, right? I don't believe in chaos. I believe in synchronicity. I don't believe in chaos. I don't believe in sometimes when something happens, you feel like you've already done it. You're like, this is weird. I feel like this is, or when, so think about it. My wife, I opened this tanning salon, and that's where I met her. She ended up working with us, before. I didn't even hire her, but we were looking at 3 other locations. We were going to open one, at Winston Churchill and Aquitaine, across from the Meadowtowne Mall there on the 2nd floor. So it was there or there, there or there, there or there. So we opened the one at Jane and Wilson, because I lived at Jane and Shepherd, or my whole life would have been different. Same with where we lived in the village. I was out playing golf with her, my brother-in-law. She had a job at Loblaws on Surveyors. I have a client right now that works for Loblaws on Surveyors, which is kind of weird, in the same department, never knew my wife. And Violet was out with Ryan, my oldest, who's 29. He was 18 months. So she had her hair in a ponytail, track pants on, just trying to see how quickly she could get from where we lived with my parents, which is another story that we won't get into, to her job. And then seen these signs and drove into the village and said, oh, Jeff, you got to come to this. This is I don't even know, this is unreal. And we bought a house that night. Now, it wasn't going to be built for 8 months. Didn't have all the money. We sold a condo for $135,000 and bought a house for $360,000. So it was I said, KV, I'll do it. But you can't ask me every night when I come home from work, hey, how's your day? You sell anything today? You get a listing? You got a lease? It's that would be a nightmare. And I guess my point is the synchronicity. I don't buy the house. I don't have my family. I don't have Jade. I don't have this job. I don't have, all these things, I think they were going to happen anyways. I think you're just sort of on this, and then you can do cool things while you're on the path, and you make some mistakes and you learn some things. But I think by and large, everything. I'll tell you one more quick story. I know I'll probably past our time. So my father passed away a year ago, August. So August the 18th, 2023. He's Maltese, so posted something on Facebook. Friends of ours, of my dad, that I know, called, reach out, hey, if you're doing a little get together for your father, we'd like to come. And I said, yeah, we are. We're going to do a little get together in the Junction, just a Maltese pastizzi store that we're all going to meet. It's very informal, it's what he would have wanted. He wasn't that way. So a bunch of people came, my brothers and whatever, and some, obviously my family. And this girl, Rita Taliano, she's probably my age. And her parents, her mother is still alive, her father had passed away. I haven't seen her since I was a kid. So we're sitting there talking, meet her husband, Wayne, meet her mother. And so she reminds me of some stuff that I had forgotten because I was a little kid. So when my dad came to Malta and came to Canada and he met my mom, they were living at Rita's parents' house because my dad didn't have that much money. He just started a job, whatever. And they were going to get married. And Rita says, or her mother says to me, your dad had this idea and said to Rita's mother, Doris, I don't think I'm going to marry Betty. I changed my mind. It wasn't like a giant wedding. She says, that's okay. Grab all your fucking shit and get out of my house. You're living in this house and you're going to do that to Betty. So obviously he married my mother because I'm here. And Doris was maid of honor. Is that a maid of honor? Yeah, maid of honor. Her husband was best man. They're the godparents of my sister Debbie. And so I'm like, that's so weird. So then Rita, their daughter, I'm talking with her, just shooting the shit, getting to know her husband. And, you know, where do you live? What do you do? How's life? Whatever, blah, blah, blah. Semi-retired. I've picked up golf. I said, oh, you like golf? She said, yeah, I'm not good at it, but I like it. Wayne can't play. He fell in the garden, hurt his wrist. But, you know, he's going to play. But, yeah. She said, I'm taking lessons. And she said, Violet goes, oh, that's interesting. Where are you taking lessons? She goes, oh, Piper's Heath. And she goes, oh, who's teaching you? She said, this young kid. Nice guy. What's his name? Oh, Ryan. Well, that's my son. So my son comes in the restaurant with his wife, our fiance at the time. I'm like, Rita says hi. Rita. Like, you know, so now she never asked him his last name. If she would have said Ryan Borg, then she would have said Borg, my dad, you know, and she would have put it all together. The point of the matter is, how freaking like insane is that?
Oh, come on, don't get soft now.
No, I'm just like, I have before, I won't hear, but it's like I had goosebumps. I'm like how do you get that separation? Like all those things that happened. My mom and my dad lived in their house. They're like all these things. They're here. My son, who's like a golf pro, is teaching the daughter. Like you couldn't even make a movie out of it. It's like, I'm like, this is too much.
I feel like I've missed a whole drive home conversation.
Yeah. No, but I just find that, you know, I don't think we've talked about it, but I think that everything's sort of synchronized. I mean, I think you are where you are because you're supposed to be there. My wife would say, oh, you know, if we would have joined Royal LePage 15 years before, because now we have all these systems, I said, I know, but we didn't though. We weren't ready to do it, because if we were ready to do it, we would have already joined. So you can't change it. Like, I get it. Like, you know, if I was taller and I could fight better, I would like put in NHL, but I wasn't. I couldn't turn one way, so I'm not. Like, yeah, you know, can't change it. Yeah.
You know what? Your clients are lucky because
Yes.
when you engage, you get all of Jeff, which is amazing. There's never a half Jeff.
No.
And we really appreciate it. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Buddy.
And thank you for coming. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Awesome. Perfect.
Good.